Hello there, welcome to Notts Today. I'm Al, I hope you had a lovely weekend. This is what we've got for you. I've not even finished dressing myself, look. This is what we've got coming up for you on the show today. First, we're going to be seeing how an annual festival took over Nottingham, all with the aim of beating homelessness and rough sleeping.
You know, it's a battle, it's a continual battle every year, but what we do is just some drop in the ocean towards it, really.
That's better. Now, more on that shortly, and we've got some great guests for you on the sofa, including the departing Vice-Chancellor of Nottingham Trent University. Professor Edward Peck, CBE, announced he's stepping down from his role after 11 years. He's going to be here in a few moments to reflect on his time at the top of the institution. And we'll find out about some big, bold and innovative artwork exploring the mind-blowing world of quantum science.
Behind me is a work called Ring Down, which involves two bronze bells which are spinning at high speed and eventually collide. And I've created this as an analogy to the work at the physics lab.
And we'll head to the re-unveiling of a rather divisive statue in the heart of Beeston Town Centre.
Well, I think it's really important to retain and preserve what public art we have and see it as part of our cultural heritage.
And a bumper sport for you as well, including reaction following a rather humbling weekend on the road for Nottingham Forest.
It's realising how we play, the things that we do well, and we have to be compact as always. The moment that we are in balance, allowing spaces.
There you go, I've got all that and loads more just for you. First though, yesterday saw the return of Nottingham's annual Beat the Streets Music Festival. It brought live music and local artists to venues across the city, all with the aim of making a real difference. Proceeds from the event went to Framework, that's the charity dedicated to tackling homelessness and rough sleeping in the city. This year, the organisers hope to reach a significant milestone by surpassing more than £500,000 that has been raised since the festival started in 2018. Our reporter Maria Angel Acosta has more.
Live music, good laughs and dancing return to Nottingham, all with the hope of beating rough sleeping and homelessness. Beat the Streets is a festival unique to our city, taking place across various venues to raise money for charity Framework. It is an event that is not just about enjoying a variety of local artists, but also tackling what the charity's own figures says it is a raising problem to our streets. Ahead of the event, Framework's Deputy Chief Executive, Claire McConicle, said this sort of fundraising is vital to the organisation's work.
One of the brilliant things about the Beat the Streets money is that the DHP family give us discretion about how to spend it, so we're able to spend it where it's needed. So in 2023 we were able to use it to make the housing development of 8 self-contained flats for people who've been at risk of homelessness. In other years we've used it to put specialist mental health staff into services. It's been used for all sorts of really brilliant purposes. So at the moment the environment that people who are experiencing homelessness is facing is as difficult and as challenging as it's ever been across so many different spheres. I think I'd ask people to open their eyes to it and to be visible and be aware of it.
The idea of helping homeless people in a creative way began in 2018 when George Akins, the head of the DHP family, decided to make his contribution to tackle the growing issue.
There's a lot of people involved in this, from all the bands that get involved, and then you know what we can raise and what we can do for the community from it afterwards. So yeah, there's so many rewards that you get from this. It's a battle, it's a continual battle every year, but what we do is just some drop in the ocean towards it, really.
The organisers expected around 50,000 people to come this year, which meant spreading the message to a wide audience. The event spans 4 different venues, with Rock City serving as the main stage for more than 15 artists, one of them being local band Do Nothing.
It's such a great cause, and being able to play locally and just have loads of Nottingham bands or local bands playing is like a privilege, and being able to do it and help people out is even better.
As these events came to a close, it laid down another brick of Nottingham's path to beating the streets. Maria Angela Costa for Notts TV.
Now it's time to meet our first guest of the show. Professor Edward Peck has been Nottingham Trent University's Vice-Chancellor and President since 2014 and has led a huge transformation during that time. Last week though, Professor Peck announced plans to step down in the summer. During his 11 years, he's overseen the huge growth of the Clifton campus, countless University of the Year awards, and of course successfully leading NTU through the pandemic. And Professor Peck is here now to try and cram all that and more into 5 quick minutes. So first question then, why now? Why is now the time to step down?
Well, 11 years is a long time, I think, in one job, and we are moving towards having a new higher education policy from the government. We've got the East Midlands Combined Council Authority just being started. We're about to enter a new strategic period for NTU from next year till 2031. So after 11 years, it's been a good moment to step away and let a new Vice-Chancellor just respond to all those initiatives and opportunities. So that's why I think now is the right moment. Okay,
now this is going to be a daft question, but is there one highlight that you can choose from that 11 years? I imagine there's many. But...
There are many. I think creating a real sense of common purpose amongst all of our colleagues at NTU, and we've done that together, has given us a real sense of confidence, direction, pride, profile. And what absolutely exemplifies that is what we've done in Mansfield, University Centre in Mansfield. And it's not just the centre itself, it's all the activities that colleagues have picked up and just do what they do really well around that centre in the community, in schools, in all sorts of ways. And that's the thing I'm probably most proud of. I had to pick one thing in the last 11 years. It would be that, because no other university's done that and probably would think of doing it or done it so well, because all of our colleagues just believed in it because it's part of our mission. It's what we're there to do, and they just really got behind it and have done extraordinary things in Mansfield and Ashfield.
And with that, obviously the experiences for the students, which is, and we'll touch upon that shortly, but just the awards that come as well, the amount of awards you've received over that time.
So the awards come as a byproduct, I think, of what the university does, which is prioritise the student experience and student learning. We are a teaching-intensive university. We do great research, we support innovation, but at the heart of what we do is the student. And that just comes across, and therefore when awards are given out based on student experience, student learning, then we tend to win because we just do it very well. And we have a saying at NTU, if it's worth doing well. And another example of that is the University Sports League. When I arrived, we were 18th. So I said to my colleagues, what's the point of being 18th? Either we do it properly or we don't bother. And now we're 7th. We're 7th last year. And that just shows what you can achieve with real focus and purpose and mobilising colleagues' commitment. And it's and that's what students like. They love coming to university that's successful at all that it does.
Let's focus on the students then, because you've fairly recently, in that 11 years, started the role as the chair. You're in the Higher Education Mental Health Implementation Task Force. I had to read that because I couldn't.
Isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from a personal level, what does it mean to you to be involved with that?
Well, my first job back in 1984, my first real job was in Nottingham. It was at Mapley. So my first career was in mental health. So when I came back to Nottingham, it was really great. But one of the things I brought with me was the knowledge about how mental health services work, how mental health can really affect people's lives. And there were some issues around universities and mental health, particularly COVID-19 had prompted an increase in anxiety amongst young people, and that includes students. And so we need to improve some aspects. What universities did support students' mental health problems. And the task force was set up by the previous minister, and he asked me to chair it because I think we've been good at that at NTU. I have a background in the field, and it's been a privilege to actually lead a whole range of folk from across the whole of the sector and beyond the sector in addressing some of those challenges, and the way in which universities and colleges have responded really positively and improved their practice the last couple of years has just been really encouraging and shows universities and colleges want to do the right thing when they know what it is and they recognise the challenges that students face.
And that's mental health anyway, on the broader scale, has been something that's talked about more and more in the last decade, 11 years. So really to be at the fore of this in universities, you know, that's, when like you say, you talk about a highlight, but when you do step down, that must feel good.
It will, and young people today are just much more confident talking about mental health than they were when I was their age. But there is more of it, and it's not just COVID-19, there are all sorts of things in the world to feel anxious about, aren't there? But COVID-19 certainly accentuated it. So it did seem timely, I think, to make sure we were supporting those students who came through school during COVID and had their learning disrupted. So they had real reasons sometimes to want to catch up and make sure they're getting all they could from university life.
Right, let's talk about you now. So when you're stepping down in the summer, what's after that? Putting your feet up?
I'm open to offers.
Okay.
I'm only retiring in the very technical sense that I can draw my pension. I know it's unbelievable, but it's true. I'm looking to do something else which connects with my values, which is working for organisations in and around the public sector, which help our fellow citizens improve their lives. Which is why both working at NHS in my previous career and working at NTU and in universities has just been absolutely great. Being able to live and work your values has been a real privilege. I feel very lucky to be able to pursue a career that's enabled me to do that for the last 43 years.
Wow. Well, enjoy whatever comes next, and it's been great to talk to you. Thank you, Professor Peck. Now, some more headlines from around your city and county, and patrols will be carried out in Nottingham to ensure that e-scooters are being used safely when they return. The devices will come back to Nottingham in the spring after the City Council signed a contract with provider DOT. About 1,300 scooters will be brought to the city during the project, leading to concerns last week from charities for the blind and disabled. A spokesperson for DOT says users who are abusing the vehicles or parking them irresponsibly will be fined and they could be banned. Right, it wasn't the best weekend, was it, for football in our region, but we'll be finding out what Nuno Espirito Santo thought of the 5-0 drubbing, let's go, at Bournemouth. And also we'll be talking about mental health with young people with a special guest who's written a book all about it next. Hello, welcome back to Monday's show. I'm Al, thanks for being here with me. This is what's happening in Notts today. A counter-terrorism operation took place at Trent Bridge Cricket Ground today. That was so regional emergency services could test their response to a major incident. Agencies including Nottinghamshire Police, firefighters, EMAS and the Counter-Terrorism Policing East Midlands tested the way they reacted to challenging and dynamic incidents. They said the incident is not in response to any particular threat, but so they could prepare for their response if a big incident did take place. And a woman has been charged after several windows were smashed at a historic Nottingham pub. Police were called to the Bell Inn along Angel Row shortly after 7:45 in the morning of January the 21st. That's after staff reported damage. When officers arrived, they found 5 smashed windows and 2 broken boards, damage expected to cost about £4,500. 31-year-old Sabrina Winfield of Holland Street has been charged with criminal damage. She'll appear at Nottingham Magistrates Court next month. And council taxpayers across Nottingham and Nottinghamshire face a tax rise of nearly 5% to fund policing in the county. Notts Policing Crime Commissioner Gary Godden has put forward a tax rise of 4.9%, which would mean the average Band D home paying £13.95 more per year on their council tax bills. That's specifically to fund Nottinghamshire Police's element of the tax bill. The increase will be discussed by councillors at the Police and Crime Panel on February the 3rd. Now, a new art and science exhibition that explores the deep unknown around scientific concepts and things we can't see with the naked eye are on display at Lakeside Arts. Cosmic Giants will be free to visit for just over a month, showcasing some fascinating art-inspired science concepts like 2 planets colliding in black holes in our universe. There's also an Albert Einstein-inspired gravitational pull cotton web as well. I have no idea what any of that means, but our reporter Jordan Guerrero went along to speak to some of the artists to find out.
Big, bold and innovative science-inspired artwork. That's what's been set up under one roof here at Nottingham's Lakeside Arts. These have been made by artists from across the country coming to the city to explore the mind-blowing world of quantum science. They've made visual pieces inspired by real scientific research, which have been adapted in their own creative way to help you and me to better understand tricky concepts. Conrad Shawcross is one of those artists. He specialises in mechanical sculptures based on scientific ideas, with one honing in on what 2 Titan planets colliding could look like.
Behind me is a work called Ring Down, which involves 2 bronze bells which are spinning at high speed and eventually collide. And I've created this as an analogy to the work at the physics lab, which is where they're trying to learn more about the mergers of black holes, where black holes are colliding in the distant universe. Bronze bells, all the sensors, and we've essentially designed and built it in London and then brought it here to install it.
Dr. Ulrika Kuckner is a Senior Research Fellow at the University of Nottingham. She's just one of the brains behind the exhibition and said it's unique because it brings together two polar opposite topics to create mind-blowing pieces of art.
This back and forth of art and science is really taking us to incredible spaces, and it helps us to grasp the intangible things. Imagine this is space with a very heavy object like the sun or a black hole bending this fabric of space, which we call space-time. Anything that is less heavy, like Earth, circles around it.
The exhibition has been 4 years in the making, and Professor Silke Weinfertner, the other brain behind the project, said it's been a great way to bring science to life.
This exhibition allows us to let people in, to open up to other communities. And the other aspect here is by working with the arts, we can tap into an incredibly creative community.
An eye-opening VR display, as well as an interactive psychologic machine, are other scientific concepts being used to explore the cosmic world. They'll be orbiting the Nottingham attraction until the end of April. Jordan Guerrero for Notts TV.
Oh, my head actually hurts. That looks amazing, but I don't understand any of it. Right, it's time for your sports now. Let's start with Nottingham Forest. They took a bit of a drubbing at the weekend, didn't they? They were beaten 5-0 away at Bournemouth to end a brilliant streak. The Reds went into the match unbeaten in the last 8, but they also faced a Cherry side who were doing pretty well at the moment too. They were sunk following a first-half goal by Justin Kluivert and a stoppage-time goal by Antoine Semenyo, either side of a second-half hat-trick by Dango Tara. After the game, Forest head coach Nuno Espirito Santo said it was a bad day at the office.
It's realizing how we play, the things that we do well, and we have to be compact as always. The moment that we are in balance, allowing spaces, players to run and do their actions without reducing the distance, it becomes very, very, very hard. Yeah, that was the idea, that was the message and the conversation that we had among ourselves. We've not been in this place many times at halftime. Again, we started good, but after that was a nightmare, almost as a nightmare. It's about realizing how we do things, correcting now, don't change.
Into League One, it also wasn't to be for Mansfield Town. They were beaten away at bottom place Cambridge United on Saturday. The home side scored twice in the opening 7 minutes and then added a third just after half time. The Stags tried to mount a late comeback. George Maris got a stoppage time penalty. George Maris scored, and a stoppage time penalty by Lee Gregory wasn't enough to salvage a point for Nigel Clough's side. After the game, the Yellows manager said it was a tough challenge from the start after conceding 2 goals so early.
On the back of an extremely good performance and result last week at Bolton, so I've been emphasising to the players, make sure you're ready for it. Long throw in, don't deal with it, we don't clear our lines, and all of a sudden you find yourself 1-0 down and you see the whole stadium lift. I thought we should have had a penalty before then. I thought there's 2 not excuses, factors in that first thing. The throw-in that came in, the long throw, and he let him take it 15 yards in front of where the ball went out for a start, which is inexcusable for the referee. And then there's an absolute blatant penalty which the assistant has to give on Elliot Hewitt, and might have got to 1-1. It might have been different.
In League Two, Notts County were the only team of our 3 Football League sides to come away with anything this weekend. They'd have wanted more than the 1-1 draw at home with Bromley, though. On his return, Jody Jones helped the Pies take the lead through a penalty 10 minutes into the second half, and the side dominated most of the game, but then Bromley equalised in the 80th minute through Cameron Congreve and shared the spoils at Meadow Lane. After the match, County head coach Stuart Maynard said they deserved more.
A big frustration, but I think Bromley do that to you. I think I've played Bromley enough over the years when I was at Wealdstone, and Notts have played Bromley enough over the years to know that that's them to a T. They get 10 men behind the ball, they defend for their lives, they make it very hard, they don't leave many gaps to play through. But we had 17 shots, they have 4. The big disappointment for me is the way that we concede the goal. in the middle of the pitch is something we work so hard on as a group, and the lads work incredibly hard about keeping teams on the outside. And that's the biggest frustration for me, that the lads have given absolutely everything and we can see the goal that's through the middle of the pitch.
In women's football, Nottingham Forest women are through to the League Cup final after a tough 1-0 away win against #United. Charlie Welling scored a late winner from the spot to help Carly Davis' side through the semi-final, knocking out last year's winners in the process. The win means the Reds are through to the final and they'll face fellow Northern Premier Division side Stoke City in the final on March the 23rd. It's being played at Walsall's Bescot Stadium in the West Midlands. In ice hockey, it was a big winning weekend for the Nottingham Panthers. They recorded back-to-back emphatic victories in the Elite League. Danny Stewart's side started the weekend on Friday night with a clash against the Guildford Flames. They came away with a huge 7-4 victory from that one. Then they went to Manchester for a game against the Storm and left the North West with a 4-0 win. After the Guildford match, head coach Stewart said the Motorpoint atmosphere helps the side to score in bunches.
Yeah, we weren't good tonight, but I guess more importantly, we got 2 points. First period, I don't know, a bit of a scrappy game. Special play there by Cooper to get us on the board. We gave that one up back, just some loose coverage and lack of physicality. But then we get the lead there, and then second period, it's really nice play for our third goal. And then I don't know, we just kind of took our foot off the gas.
And you can see all 11 goals from that huge 7-4 win over Guildford right here on Notts TV on Wednesday evening. Somehow we'll manage to fit all that into our usual 2-hour slot, which starts at 9 p.m, straight after this week's team talk. And I dare say there'll be a fair bit to talk about in that as well. Now, in rugby, Nottingham recorded their first win of 2025 on Friday, seeing Doncaster Knights off comfortably. The game was played under the lights at the Bay, and it saw the Archers score 7 tries to defeat Doncaster with ease, and included 2 from David Williams, 1 each from Ferreira, Olawulfela, Christian Goss, Stapley and Wright, and Matt Arden converted 4 of those tries as well. That means Nottingham did the double over Doncaster for the first time since 2019, and the Archers strengthened their position, now sitting comfortably in 4th. And in cricket, Trent Bridge have confirmed T20 champion Heather Graham will rejoin the Blaze for most of the 2025 season. The experienced all-rounder, who's a Charlotte Edwards Cup winner and Australia international, will be available for 10 Vitality Blast fixtures this summer, as well as finals day as well, if she's needed. Plus, she'll be available to take part in 50 over cricket before the 100 starts up again in August. Trent Bridge Director of Women's Cricket James Cutt said Heather's experience was invaluable to the club last year. Time for your photo of the day now. Look at this, a lovely sunset shot in West Bridgford. Makenda Louise sent that prickly tree. Beautiful thing. Right, time for your weather. Not much has changed over the next 3 days, so it's been highs of 8 degrees today, dropping to only 5 into tomorrow. Hey, we're getting highs of 8, that's right. Then it's going to be dry all day, dropping to 3. In Wednesday, guess what the temperature is going to be? That's right, 8 again. It's literally weather Groundhog Day, although there will be some sun on Wednesday. Dropping to 2 into Thursday. Right, coming up, we're going to find out about a book that supports young people with their mental health by the way of positive pants. And also, if you fancy going out tonight, I'll tell you what's on in your What's On guide. How fitting. It's on next. Hello, welcome back to Notts Today with me, Al. Thank you for being here. Hope you're well. This is what's happening in Notts Today. Events have taken place across Notts to mark Holocaust Memorial Day. The annual event remembers the millions of Jewish people killed by the Nazis between 1941 and 1945. This year's event also marks the 80th anniversary of the Auschwitz concentration camp liberation. Nottinghamshire County Council hosted an event at County Hall today to mark the occasion, hearing stories from survivors. Other events have been held at the National Holocaust Centre and Museum in Laxton over the past week. And on Friday's show, we also covered a new exhibition by the University of Nottingham looking into the impact of the Holocaust. To catch up on that chat, you can see the official YouTube channel, which is Notts TV Official, or go to nottstv.com. Now, Notts Council spent nearly £200,000 on agency workers across just 4 months last year. Gedling Borough Council forked out £90,000 between August and November, funding agency staff to drive its bin lorries, with another £30,000 spent on street cleaners. Spending was discussed at a meeting last week where councillors said it's been difficult filling gaps in the workforce and to recruit and retain employees as well. Now, it's Monday and it's time for your What Song Guide. If you're one of those crazy cats who goes out on a Monday night, this is what you can get up to. Kicking things off over at Unit 13, it's Dirty Mondays. All 3 of their rooms will be open. They'll be playing different music and each store's open at 10:30. Tickets are £5. Have fun if you're off to that. Alternatively, if you're an Elvis fan, put on your blue suede shoes, shuffle along to a night of his classics with Dean Z. I would say Dean Z. Dean Z over at Motorpoint Arena. Dean Z, the ultimate Elvis UK tour. He's the #1 Elvis impersonator. Stops at Notts at 7:30 tonight. Tickets around £30. And there'll be more on that on tomorrow's show as our reporter Jack Sims, Notts TV's very own Elvis impersonator, is going along. Right, time for our next great guest now. This person has written a book to help young people with their mental health. Positive Pants was launched by author Claire Clements 7 years ago to help young people through tough times as they grow up. She's now written another book called Put On Your Positive Pants. It's all about a girl who wakes up feeling sad but gets the help of mum to try out things to feel better. Claire's also the founder of Positively Empowered Kids, that is dedicated to supporting Nottingham children reach their full potential, and she is here now. Hello, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Tell us about Positive Pants then. How did it all come about?
Gosh, how did it come about? I think for me, because I always struggled with my own mental health when I was a young person, I didn't really know where to turn. So when I had my daughter, who is now 14, but at the time a lot younger, I was very aware of all the influences around them that might cause them to have mental health struggles as they grew up. So I used to look for, all those positive quotes that you get on social media, and I used to save them all and every so often flick through them, and I decided to create a photo book just full of the positive quotes that were more relevant to a young person. And one of those quotes was, "Put on your positive pants." And it just really seemed to capture people's imagination. People found, the phrase funny. And one parent said to me, "I wish I had a pair of those." And that's where it was born. I actually started to create actual pants for children with positive affirmations on them. And it's kind of grown from there. I wanted it to be more than just a product. It's kind of a way of life, a sort of metaphor for life for young people and families.
So you actually have, because this is the other thing, you actually produce actual pants, don't you? That's
yes,
what you mean.
Yes, not so much at the moment. It changed slightly over lockdown with availability of products, and obviously my focus has been massively on Positively Empowered Kids for a while as well. So yeah, the business has evolved, but the concept of positive pants still very much remains.
Yeah, absolutely, and probably now more than ever, I imagine as well. So what are you up to now? Because like you say, you were a founder of Positively Empowered Kids, and now you've sort of moved on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as a CIC, we had lots of, troubles, I suppose, getting lots of funding and things, and my health really deteriorated last year. I have a number of sort of long-term hidden disabilities, conditions, and I just struggled really trying to juggle everything, and I just really felt called to put some more focus back into Positive Pants. So I started going out again, doing one-to-one sessions with families and their children in the family home, relaunched my book with some updates to it. I'm at the moment recording an online course that parents can buy to use some of the sort of key techniques that I teach. They can use them in their own home. And I'm also about to launch a pack of wellbeing cards, again, that you can use with your young people with affirmations and wellbeing activities as well on them. So quite a lot going on at the moment.
There is, hand me a book, because I will hold it up to, which camera are we going? On number 3, that's over there, spoiler at home. I'm looking at camera 3 now, there we go, break the fourth wall. So this is the book. So when you talk about working with young people and then going into the houses or this, what sort of things do you say? What are the sort of examples?
I suppose it's finding what's right for each individual child. Often I'll have the phone call, I'll be speaking with the parent about what they perceive the issues to be, and then work around that. So it might be that I'm working with the child and their confidence. It could be that actually they're really struggling in ways of how to express their anger or anxiety, as a lot of children will say. For me, it's about reframing it and actually saying, you know, is it really anxiety? Actually, is it a different feeling? Is it worry or is it concern? And actually helping that young person to find the right language for that emotion, but then also finding a technique or a tool or an exercise that they can actually use that really fits in with the things that they're passionate about. We could all go and say, let's all do this breathing technique, but that's not going to be right for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Breathe. Is it blowing the flowers, blowing the petals, or breathe?
There's millions.
Something like that, isn't
yeah,
it?
That's
I know.
one.
With our son, we've tried that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the book then. Put on your positive pants. There's about a young girl and her mum.
Yeah, absolutely. So modelled on myself and my daughter many years ago. So the idea is there's a young person that wakes up really struggling with their emotions that day, just feeling a bit sad, a bit low. And the story kind of takes us through a day that they spend together, where we try lots of different things as a parent and child. So going out into nature, making a vision board, dancing around and being silly and wiggling our bottom in our positive pants, noticing that these things for children, they're really empowering for them to understand that those things help your well-being, and that actually as they grow up, we don't need to go to the doctors, we don't need to necessarily turn to medication. Obviously for some people that's the right thing, but actually there are other ways to do it, and this is a really early introduction of things that you can do as a family to find out what's right for you.
So where can people get the book?
You can get it on Amazon or my website, www.positivepants.co.uk.
Any book that has someone wearing pants on their head, which I do a lot to try and help my children, is a winner. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, let's have a look at another of your top stories. And yesterday we saw the return of Nottingham's annual Beat the Streets Festival. Proceeds from the event goes to Framework, which is the charity dedicated to tackling homelessness and rough sleeping in the city. This year, organisers hope to reach a milestone by surpassing more than £500,000 raised since it started in 2018. Maria Angel Acosta went along.
Live music, good laughs and dancing returned to Nottingham, all with the hope of beating rough sleeping and homelessness. Beat the Streets is a festival unique to our city, taking place across various venues to raise money for charity Framework. It is an event that is not just about enjoying a variety of local artists, but also tackling what the charity's own figures says it is a raising problem to our streets. Ahead of the event, Framework's Deputy Chief Executive, Claire McConicle, said this sort of fundraising is vital to the organisation's work.
One of the brilliant things about the Beat the Streets money is that the DHP family give us discretion about how to spend it, so we're able to spend it where it's needed. So in 2023 we were able to use it to make the housing development of 8 self-contained flats for people who've been at risk of homelessness. In other years we've used it to put specialist mental health staff into services. It's been used for all sorts of really brilliant purposes. So at the moment the environment that people who are experiencing homelessness is facing is as difficult and as challenging as it's ever been across so many different spheres. I think I'd ask people to open their eyes to it and to be visible and be aware of it.
The idea of helping homeless people in a creative way began in 2018, when George Akins, the head of the DHP family, decided to make his contribution to tackle the growing issue.
There's a lot of people involved in this, from all the bands that get involved, and then what we can raise and what we can do for the community from it afterwards. So yeah, there's so many rewards that you get from this. It's a battle, it's a continual battle every year, but what we do is just some drop in the ocean towards it, really.
The organisers expected around 50,000 people to come this year, which meant spreading the message to a wide audience. The event spans 4 different venues, with Rock City serving as the main stage for more than 15 artists, one of them being local band Do Nothing.
It's such a great cause, and being able to play locally and just have loads of Nottingham bands or local bands playing is like a privilege, and being able to do it and help people out is even better.
As these events came to a close, it laid down another brick of Nottingham's path to beating the streets. Maria Angel Acosta for Nots TV.
Now, police investigating an incident involving 3 off-road bikers have launched an appeal to trace 3 people. 2 men were reportedly threatened with a piece of wood after spotting the bikes on their land before one was driven straight at them. Happened just off Squires Lane in Kings Clipston about 11:15 on January the 17th morning. Now, officers have released these images we're showing you on your screens and say if you recognise the men, give them a call on 101. A separate appeal has been launched by the force following an assault on a woman at a Nottingham venue. Nottinghamshire police say the victim in her 50s was watching a gig at a venue off Goldsmith Street when a man repeatedly fell into her. It happened just before 10:30 on December the 12th. CCTV shows a man assaulting the woman after she pushed him away. They've released this image you can see on your screens, and if you can help, get in touch with them on 101. Right, still to come, we are talking with tram bosses about how thousands of pounds have been fundraised to support countless Notts charities through them, and we'll talk the Beeston sculpture. Hello, welcome back to Monday's show with me, Al Booth. This is Notts Today, I hope you're doing well. A police project supporting the public to protect their bikes from theft is likely to be extended. Nottinghamshire Police provides free bike marking services to deter thieves and provide specialist advice to cyclists. It's previously been held at the University of Nottingham and Queen's Medical Centre. Now the force said it'll extend to all neighbourhood policing teams across the city and county. Figures from the force show cyclists even are 83% less likely to have bikes stolen if they're marked in that way. And plans for 54 homes on farmland in Arnold have been given the go-ahead by council planners. The homes will be built off Mapley Plains on land which neighbours Brookfield Garden Centre. The application was submitted by developer Cameron Homes at the start of last year. In the decision to approve the plans this month, Gedling Borough Council told the applicant must pay about £360,000 to support local schools, library and GP services to mitigate the impact of its plans. Now, we all have our own opinions on modern art, don't we? But no work of art in Notts has been more widely debated than Beeston's own Waterhead. This weekend, the Marmite of Marble Sculptures had its official rededication ceremony after it was moved from its original home in Beeston Square. Now, it's just outside the Arc Cinema, and it is hoped that the new space will give gazers more time to see the affectionately named stump. Jack Sims went along to meet those who helped make it happen and also hear what locals think of the Waterhead.
Modern art can often bring diverse opinions, and here in Notts, few pieces are more debated than Beeston's Waterhead. Somewhat affectionately nicknamed the Stump, this statue was created by Long Eaton artist Paul Mason and placed in Beeston's Town Square in 1989. This weekend, a rededication ceremony took place where a crowd gathered to give this marble marvel a warm welcome, including Paul's son, Joe Mason. That's after it moved from its previous home in the square to its new location. This is so the old space could be reused to develop the town. Since its erection, it's been a constant source of debate, with many Beestonians saying that it's ugly and are unable to see what it represents. But for one member of the Beeston Civic Society, Tamar Feast, this statue is more than just unusual art.
I like public art. I think it's important and it happens less and less these days. It isn't cheap. I think it's really important to retain and preserve what public art we have and see it as part of our cultural heritage. With the new sighting of it, the softer surroundings of the planting around it and the information plaque, I hope they'll like it more than they did, and people who already like it, like me, are just really happy that we get to keep it.
Another advocate for the art is Professor David Manley, who was a close friend of Paul Mason. He says Paul would have welcomed other people's perspectives.
I think he wanted to make something which softened up the urban environment, but the whole point of it really is just to sort of say, well, this is something of this place. He would have wanted people just to look at it, to reflect upon it, and if they ended up hating it, well, so be it. Were he still with us today, he would have smiled very beneficently at the fact that there were enough people who appreciated it to do what's been done with it.
We also asked passing Beestonians what they think to the Waterhead's new home.
Me personally, I think it looks a lot better where it's situated now, as out of there. It looks like it belongs here.
I think it's a load of rubbish. I don't know what it means. To me, it looks like a phallic symbol. I've got no idea what it's supposed to be.
So, love it or loathe it, the new location means the Waterhead's future is still solidified here in Beeston. Jack Sims for Notts TV.
Now, throughout this year, Nottingham Express Transit has raised more than £15,000 for a breadth of local charities and community initiatives in Nottingham as part of its pledge to celebrate its 20th anniversary through Acts of Kindness campaign. That was last year, actually. We're only 20 odd days into January. That would be some achievement. The company picks a dedicated charity each year, and last year it was Nottingham Central Women's Aid, which they raised £2,000 for, doing Walk the Network back in May. 30 NET staff workers walked along the tram network from Hucknall to Clifton South. Employees also picked a charity to raise money for individually as well. Their business engagement manager, Rebecca Horn, is here now. You did do a lot last year, didn't you?
It was a very busy year, but very enjoyable. Definitely a highlight of our job. So yeah, great job.
So how did the relationship come about then with the Nottingham Women's Central Aid? Why was that the charity you went for?
Yes, so it was last year we decided that we wanted to have a charity of the year, and so we asked our staff to pick it. We thought it was very important to get our staff involved. They nominated 10 local charities that they felt were important, and then we just put it out to a vote, and Women's Aid was won on a landslide, really. It was something that's very important to a lot of people in our business, and yeah, it was great to work with them, a real positive relationship we had with them.
Yeah, great cause as well.
So
this picture we can just see here now, we can't see that's me, there's on the screen, is, there you go, that's just after you've done the walk, is that right?
No, so that was our launch actually.
Oh, was that the launch? Sorry.
Yeah,
yeah. That's what we get for
so yeah, well, that's when we launched them to celebrate that they were our charity of the year. So managed to get lots of proud members of staff to come in, including our managing director, our interim managing director, Sarah Turner, who's in the middle there. So yeah, it was a great day to celebrate.
I was going to say, a lot of happy faces there. If that was the end of the walk, probably slightly more tired looking for the end of the walk.
I think there is another photo of the end of our walk, and there's lots of happy faces still. Yeah, we did really well.
Tired. How was that then?
Do you know what? It was one of the best days of another highlight of my year. So yeah, 12 miles from Hucknall to Clifton South. We had lots of people join us, collected lots of money. I think we raised nearly £1,000. We gave everyone medals as well at the end of it.
Nice.
We did a finish line as well. And all our staff got involved as well. So because we're right next to the line, safely next to the line, they were tooting the horns and waving. It's just a really great experience. And we're looking forward to doing it again this year for our next charity of the year.
There we go. That's the end of the walk. That's when
yes, that's the end of the walk. Yeah.
So what is happening next year? This year.
Yeah.
Tell us who you've partnered with.
So I'm not able to reveal much at the moment but we've got a lot of plans in place. Ooh. But this year our staff have chosen our dementia choir. So one of our drivers, Alan, his son Jacob, did some fundraising for our dementia choir last year, which we supported, and our staff were just inspired by him. So we felt that we wanted to follow suit and support the cause as well. And yeah, we had our first meeting with our dementia choir. And we've got lots of things planned, so watch this space. Really exciting.
Can you tell us anything? You have to come on the show with at least one thing.
I wish I could, but no. I'll be back on another time, I'm sure, to tell you all about it. But yeah, really exciting year ahead.
Excellent. Well, I'll mark off the last two questions there. What was your personal highlight from last year?
Oh gosh, there's been so many. I think for me, it's just seeing how the money, all the money that we've raised, what happens firsthand with that. Because we're part of the community as well. We're able to go to the charities and see what that money and what our help has helped support. So, for example, I did go and visit the Women's Aid headquarters and see where some of the women and children's day, and how we can help and how the money has helped. And yeah, that meant a lot, and it was quite, oh, what's the word I want? It's just, yeah, it was just quite, I was grateful for where I am and what I have in my life, and humbling, that's the word. So that was my highlight, just being able to see where our money went.
And knowing you do this, and knowing you're so well supported, obviously, when the charities you support, and then obviously people of Nottingham should get behind you as well. Does that give you scope? I mean, do you get then excited that next year we can do more, we can do more? Yeah, it's definitely a passion of ours to see what we can do and how we can help our communities, because it's such an important part of our organisation. Yeah. So, yeah, really, really proud of it. Oh, brilliant. And it's one of those exciting things you're going to do this year? Can't tell you. I thought that would have got you out. I thought, wheel you in and then... no. You're so professional. Lots to tell you about, so watch this space. Definitely, yeah. Would love to. Well done. Thank you. Right, let's have a look at something showing on the channel at the moment that you can see, and it is the latest episode of the regional arts and culture show Arts Pod. You can see it all throughout the week, including tomorrow night at 7:30. It includes a chat with Tim Minchin and Dennis Kelly, who are the co-creators of Matilda the Musical. It's at Nottingham's Art Theatre in May. Tim and Dennis spoke with journalist Rebecca Jones about how it all came together.
Looking back, could you have envisaged it would be the huge success that it's gone on to be?
Dennis, did you think,
yeah, we knew. We definitely
Dennis
no,
thought
we had
10
no
mil,
idea.
Didn't
Yeah,
you? You were like, I reckon 10 mil.
If I can hit 5 mil, I'll be happy. No. I mean, we didn't know for a minute. Like, you know, we were doing a Christmas show at the RSC. You know what I mean? And so I don't think we really had a view of it being much more than that. I think you and Matthew probably had a wiser thought about, you know, this could have a West End life. But because
Matthew Walsh is the director.
But because, I mean, I was writing, my day job is to write grimy little plays that upset people, you know what I mean? And like, so
you do it so beautifully.
I was upset so many people. Not quite 12 million, but, you know, a fair amount.
But yeah, it was just one of the projects you were working on.
But also, I didn't have context.
Right, let's have another look at your photo of the day. This lovely sunset in West Bridgford was from Makenda Louise. You can share yours as well at Knots_TV on these socials. There you go, look at that, it's on the telly. Right, your weather tonight, it is dropping down to just 5 degrees, which isn't too different from today's 8. It's going to be dry as well, and tomorrow highs of 8 degrees as well. It might be a little bit windy because the storm's on the way, but it's looking all right at the moment. Into Wednesday, dropping down to 3 overnight from Tuesday into Wednesday, when we shall see highs of 8 again and some lovely sunshine. Right, thank you for being with me today. I'll be with you again at 5:30 tomorrow for more Knots Today. Until then, take care. See you soon.